Hi, I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live number 51. Welcome. You are my early birds today, and I'm excited to have you join me. I wanted just to announce today that we're going to be talking about the things that you don't know about your voice that can hurt you. So, right off the bat, what do you, well, let me put it this way. Are there some things you don't know about your voice? Yes or no? Put it in the comment section. I'd be curious. Are there some things you don't know about your voice? Yes or no? That would be interesting to see right off the bat. Okay, so let's see here. I guess I better get myself viewed here, huh? So, hi, everybody. Nice to have you with me. This is Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, number 51, What You Don't Know About Your Voice Can Hurt You. And the question is, are there some things you don't know about your voice? Yes or no? Put it in the comment section below. I'd like to welcome all of you who are attending today. My apologies last week about my botched attempt to do a live broadcast. What happened was my little laptop that I'm using right now just died. And it had been doing that repeatedly, but it was kind of haphazard. There was no way of knowing when, so I took a chance and sure enough, you know, it died. And so so there I was stuck. So I went ahead and did a broadcast on my phone. Some of you found it afterwards, but hopefully today will be different. And so hi Angela and Subia. Hello, very nice to have you guys with me early today. Are there some things you don't know about your voice? Well, we're going to talk about some of those today. I'm curious whether you feel like there's some things you don't know. So we've got just a couple minutes here. It's about, we'll start at the top of the hour, but you know, there were some things that I didn't know about my voice, and I'm sure there's some things I don't know now. But let me put it this way, I know a lot more about it than I used to. And you know, I took voice lessons from a lady that was like really well known for teaching, and she had her master's degree in vocal performance, and she had an album, and she was a big opera singer and classical singer and teacher, and so, you know, when you take voice lessons from someone of that caliber, I don't know, somehow you expect that they're going to teach you what you don't know. Well, instead, she kind of reinforced this idea that that the E above middle C was the top of my voice, because everything we sang was below that. I think there was one song I had an F, and you know, it was, oh my gosh, was it a struggle. But by and large, we never ever went there because it was so much strain and so much tension. And she just said, well, you're a bass, and so we'll sing songs that are for basses. And so that kind of reinforced this idea, not that I was a bass, but that I couldn't go any higher. And we never talked about head voice. We never talked about anything possible for me. And the second thing she said is, if you don't have vibrato, if you're not born with vibrato, you don't have it. And so I didn't, you know, so there's some things I still didn't know about my voice, and they did hurt me for like the next 20 years. And so are there some things you don't know about your voice? And you don't have to know what they are, because maybe you don't even know that you don't know. So Angela, hi. Subia, hi. Carlos, hello. Nice to have you with us today. Mindy, I can't know how these things would hurt if I don't know about it. That's the problem, isn't it? That's what's so nefarious about the whole idea. All right, it's the top of the hour. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Power to Sing Live number 51. Title today is What You Don't Know About Your Voice Can Hurt You. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, and I want to say hi and welcome to you. And it's so great to have you join us today. If this is your first time, let me know if this is your first time, and I'll give you a shout out. I try and say hi to everybody that joins us today. But the topic today is what you don't know can hurt you. And so I want to know right off the bat, do you have some things you don't know about your voice? Some of you who joined me early already know that what you don't, Mindy says, I can't know how these things would hurt if I don't know about it. That's the real problem, isn't it? Anyway, hi to Mindy. Great to have you with me today with the group. MD Saiful, nice to have you with us. Yeah, you know, comment about my setup last week. For those of you who are joining, I took my MacBook Pro into the Mac shop, and they did an analysis, a diagnostic, and pretty much within the first 2 or 3, 4 minutes, it came up the video card had failed. And so my video card was shutting the whole system down because it wasn't working, or it overloaded quickly or whatever. So we had that replaced, and this is the 2013 MacBook Pro, later edition of the 2013. So it's gaining some years on it, but they told me that they had problems with the video card in this model, and they replaced it no charge. So they put it under a warranty because that video card was not performing up to their standard, and so it was replaced without cost to me. So boy, they cemented my loyalty to the Mac company. So just a little bit of information there. So Angela, hello, nice to have you here today, and it's your first time. Cool, very nice to have you. Subia. Nice to have you. Michelle, hi Michelle. Great to have you with us today. I'm afraid I'm going to mispronounce Case Prue or Case Prue. Great to have you today. He's got some questions we'll get to. Choi Yuna. Great to have you today with us. And yeah, Mindy, I was so relieved that it wasn't my hard drive, although I do have backup. You know, the one problem with what I did have, somewhere along the line, something happened where I lost all my passwords. So you know what that's like. Every time you log in to something you've been logging into for years, I thought it would be in my Gmail system, but for some reason they were missing. Anyway, you may wonder about this stuff right here. Growing a little wisdom. So I've been cast as Ebenezer Scrooge in a local theater here. And so we're putting on a show called The Christmas Carol. And it started out as the Madison Square Garden Christmas Carol. And it's an awesome show. It's primarily music written by the same, by the Disney people who wrote Beauty and the Beast and some of their other great shows. And so I'm getting ready to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this part here because that's not period, and leave the chops, you know. So I'm going to have these great big bushy chops. The show opens the day after Thanksgiving, which is about, I don't know, 22nd or 21st or something like that in November. So anyway, in case you wonder why I'm looking older and older. Okay, so yeah, thanks. My assistant was worried, Mindy, that I was calling you by the wrong name. Okay. Now, so this is a really great topic because what we're going to be talking about here, I'm hoping that for some of you particularly who've not maybe been around as long, that I'm going to share with you information that you really don't know about your voice, and a little bit about how it can hurt you, and hopefully by giving you this information, it's going to help you. So what you don't know about your voice can hurt you. And so I'll just explain to you that I was mentioning this earlier, that I took lessons as a young man because I was in a show, in a musical production in my high school, and I had been cast as King Arthur in Camelot as a 16-year-old, 16, 17. Well, when I was cast, I was 16, and before the show opened, I turned 17. And I had taken lessons from this teacher before the audition, and I continued to take lessons from her for several years. And she helped me in many ways. However, there were some things that she apparently didn't know, and as a result was unable to teach me. And so I continued to not even know what I didn't know. Isn't that interesting? We don't know what we don't know. That's what makes what I do a little bit difficult. Because if someone had told me when I was 17 years old, or when I was 43, which is 21 years ago now. By the way, Chuck, you can add an octave to your range. I would simply not believe them. Well, so it's not even, because, I'd had various teachers say, well, I think you can, actually, I think we can get you up higher. I think we can get you to sing higher. But what was missing there was this key concept. So here's concept number one, that if you don't know this, you will be harmed by this. If you don't understand the bridge of the voice. Now so let me put it simply. For guys, it feels like the top of our voice. If I said, ah, that felt like the top of my voice as a young man, and it felt like the top of my voice until I learned about this concept that I'm talking about here. I would hit the E, and then if I went any higher, ah, it would, I'd strain or it would crack. And so I thought that was the top. Now I could go higher if I said, ah, and go on the falsetto, ah. But in musical theater and most genres, you can't sing that. You can't use that to perform. And I could yell it, but that was awful. And you just wouldn't yell it like you were at a football game or something. So I thought, because I didn't know about the bridge of the voice, I thought that was the top. For the ladies now, most of their voice is above the bridge. So they know, ladies, it's not the top. You call it your break area. So the idea behind the bridge is that break area is your bridge. Now the Italians call it passaggio, or it's referred to in Italian as passaggio, which I understand is a term relating to passage or a passageway. What is it, a passage? So that still means nothing to me. If you said, well, that's a passaggio, that's a passage. And if you said, well, that takes you from your chest voice to your head voice, I would think still, because I wouldn't have understood. I would think that what you're just telling me is that some people can go further than that and can go into something called head voice. And I just figured, well, of course people can do that. The tenors do that all the time. I had friends, my best friend was a tenor in high school. And so that still didn't mean anything to me. So the important part of understanding what the bridge is that you, even though you think you're at the top, or even though you think if you're a female singer and you have that break area, you may think that that's a kind of a permanent thing in your voice. You were just kind of like born with this break. It's not. So I guess the important part of the concept is there's two parts. First of all, there is a bridge that leads from chest to head voice. And secondly, you can negotiate that. You can pass through that without straining, cracking, breaking, or going really breathy. You can go through that so that it just sounds like your regular voice and go up higher. For the men, sometimes you can, you might be able to add an octave to your range. I did. I mean, I went from I don't use the full octave in a song, but I can vocalize to a so there's 3 octaves. And the only way I could have done that before that is to break into falsetto. And then I have to break back into my chest voice. So the key concept is you can add usable notes beyond what you guys want, beyond what you think are your top. And for the ladies, you can get through that break area or the bridge without having to crack, break, or strain, or suddenly change your voice into a falsetto or a kind of a second kind of voice, right? So that's it. If the power failed and my computer died right now, that's enough said, really. That for me is the most critical issue, that I'm trying to get this word out. And it's hard to penetrate the mind when you don't know what you don't know. And it's hard to penetrate the mind even when you hear it. You don't completely believe it. I didn't believe it. I wouldn't have believed it. And then there's the hard part, is once now maybe you know it, or someone's maybe convinced you, now can you do it? And my mission is to help you do it, because I couldn't do it and now I can, and so it makes all the difference. And it leads to so many other things. It really heals the voice once you're able to learn the bridge, and by that I mean that's through my break. If I went through the ladies' break, I don't know if I can do it or not. Let's see. Middle C. Not too bad. So I went through the women's first bridge, most women's first bridge, and so you have to learn how to do that and then apply it to a song. But once you're able to do that, my gosh, the whole world of singing just changes for us. So that's really, in my mind, that's like number one, is that I want every person who wants to sing, who has been singing, who's tried to sing, who keeps having these problems come in to their voice. I want to be able to teach them this number one thing, that there's a bridge and you can get through it and you can be successful. And that it will open up your voice. For the guys, add upper, higher notes. Take the strain out of the C, D, E, F, above middle C. It will just so many wonderful things. For the ladies, no longer do you have to worry about that blasted break. Or you have to always avoid going, getting songs or singing, or maybe even if you're in musical theater, you don't even audition for certain parts because it's right smack dab on your break and you know what happens when you sing there. So my message to you is it's possible to learn how to sing not only through it, but to sing right in the bridge. Okay, that's number one. So, number two, here's something that many of us don't know that can hurt us, and we don't even know that we know or don't know, because we're not walking around searching on, and that's the thing, nobody is searching online to find out, oh, what about my bridge? What about my break? How can I increase my range? Well, people want to know how to increase their range, but they're not asking the right questions. Right? Because they don't know, they don't understand it. The second concept is your vocal type. So many of you who've been around for a while, and I'm looking at my list here, many of you will, you now know this concept. You now know your vocal. I'm not talking classification: alto, soprano, tenor, bass, baritone, spinto, soprano, coloratura. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you tend to do when you hit the bridge. If you hit the bridge and you break, depending on the cause of it, it might be flip falsetto. Most of the time, it's pulled chest, high larynx. That causes it to break or strain or crack. If you get really light and breathy, sometimes many singers do that so they can get through that without having trouble. Light chest, no chest. And then the fourth vocal type is your mix singer, or mixed voice. And frankly, not a lot of people are able to do that at first, and even many of us aren't perfect at it. So why would knowing your vocal type, not knowing what your vocal type is, hurt you? Well, let's suppose you go to a teacher and you're pulled chest, high larynx, and all the exercises that you're getting are only reinforcing the pulled chest, high larynx coordination in your voice. Wow. So now all we're doing is making what you're doing wrong worse by reinforcing it over and over again. Come on, you can do it. You can break through that. And I keep having you pull your chest voice higher. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of singers who a lot of teachers who will just keep banging it. They know that if you just push it hard enough and stretch hard enough, you can finally break through. And that's not how you do it. So if you know your vocal type and what you tend to do when you go through the bridge or when you hit the bridge, now you're armed with some very important information. You know that you tend to do certain things at that point. Now you can look for exercises that will address that. And that's how you start making rapid progress. And so that leads me to, and this is a little bit on the promotional side of life, but do you know there are exercises designed specifically for your vocal type that will help eliminate the negative and enable you to learn to bridge, so you can go from chest to head voice and through the bridge or through the passaggio without all these problems? And there are. So they're available on powertosing.com. So I'm going to show those. I'm going to show you how to get to that right now. For some of you, like Michelle, who is here for her first time, and maybe she's never seen this before, but I'm going to take you to my website, and I'm going to quickly show you. You go to powertosing.com, and here on the home page, you see this thing that says Power Test. And if you scroll down, this video will explain how to do it. But essentially what you do is step number one, you start the recording. And so now your voice is being recorded. Step number two is you start playing. You push this play button. If you're a guy, you hit this little radio button here for men, or if you're a female singer or a child, you hit women and children. And then you hit start play, and it plays the piano for you. And as I've explained in the video, you sing and you go up the scale, and you sing along with the accompaniment that's being played. And so when you're done with that, then you hit the record button again and turn it off, and now you have a recording of yourself singing that test, the vocal test, which I call the power test because I'm powered to sing, right? So after that, you can play it back and listen to it. And as you listen to it, you answer these questions. Does it feel or sound like I'm yelling, straining, or forcing the voice higher? And so you go down the line and answer each of these questions. Answer every single one of them. Even this last one, I think sometimes people leave off. Does it sound like this has really been easy, clear, strong, with excellent pitch? Most of us would say, well, no, not really. So all of these are answered. Then you submit your answer. You have to put your email in, and within about a minute or two, you should have your vocal type back. Now, another option is you can actually send me the recording, and I'll listen to it. But that's more like 1 to 2 to 3 days, depending on when you submit it and so forth. So I'll listen to it and give you your vocal type. So by knowing your vocal type, then what you do is you go to this Knowledge Center. You go to the top of the menu, click on the menu, Knowledge Center, and now you've got 4 different pages here that you can click on. Let's just say your vocal type is pulled chest, high larynx. So you click on pulled chest, high larynx, and it takes you to 3 videos that explain what is pulled chest, high larynx. I give you exercises for this vocal type, and these exercises are designed to help eliminate the weaknesses and build in your ability to do it correctly. And then this 3rd video here is an explanation of, it just shows you some examples of singers, rich and famous, who tend to pull their chest voice. About 5 or 6 of them, I think, have had surgery on their vocal cords. You can see Adele's picture there. She just hemorrhaged a 2nd time. Why? Because she pulls her chest voice. And now right next to this is downloads. So you can download exercises, downloads for men and downloads for women. These are vocal exercises that I've just demonstrated for you here. And those exercises you practice, and that helps you begin to learn to bridge. So that's how you discover your vocal type. And that particular process is available for all of the vocal types: full chest, high larynx, flip, falsetto, light chest, no chest, and the mix. So with that, let me take a look at any of your comments here. And my assistant has given me, we found that sometimes there's repeated questions. And so she's tried to find the ones that represent maybe multiple questions. So this is from Michelle. Hi, Michelle. You said, my teacher said I'm an alto, and I believed that until a teacher came into my life and changed me into a soprano. Okay. All right, so, that's a good example. Maybe you had a teacher that said you're an alto because you had trouble singing higher. But once you're able to learn how to bridge, you can get through your passaggio without cracking and breaking. All of a sudden now, the upper is open to you, and your range increases significantly. And all of a sudden you realize that, hey, I'm not an alto, I'm a mezzo-soprano, or something like that. So, good point. Subia said, I don't know how high my voice can go, like I can't figure out how to do it. Right. And that's why I think it's even premature most of the time for people to say, well, tell me, am I a tenor, or am I a baritone, or am I an alto, or am I a soprano? I usually get it more from guys who want to know what they are. But I think it's premature, because you never know what's going to happen once you're able to get through your bridge, how many more notes you're able to add on to it. Because when you learn how to do it and learn how to get up there into your head voice, then all of a sudden, I saw this one time in a workshop. I saw Seth Riggs working with a student. He was just getting his master's degree, and he thought he was a baritone. And Seth got him up to like the B flat in the first 5 minutes working with him. And he turned around and said, there's a group of us watching, he said, ladies and gentlemen, this is very exciting. You've just witnessed the birth of a tenor. And we thought it was so fun, and he's up, and this singer's still up there going, no, I'm not, Well, he's known now throughout this area as a fine tenor singer. So anyway, a whole new world opened up to him. So Casey Prue, oh sorry, he's from Poland. Hi, I apologize. Can singing in a way that you're almost screaming, like Chester Bennington was doing, hurt your voice? Yes. Great question. The page that I showed you on Pole Chest High Larynx has a number of singers: Keith, Urban, the lady. I just went blank on what's her name that just hemorrhaged. Who sings? There's a fire. Anyway, that's what happens when you reach 64 or almost 65. That'll come to me in a second. Several of those singers have had surgery on their voices, and it's caused by the screaming, either screaming or almost screaming, and it happens when you pull your chest voice too high. Adele is her name. So it's precisely what can happen, and it's one reason why they do it is they don't know how to bridge up into their head voice, and if they do know how, they're worried that their fans won't like them anymore. Subia also asked, sometimes when I go high it sounds amazing, but sometimes it sounds like I'm shouting with no melody. Subia, it's probably that you're not, it's probably that the larynx is going up and the chest voice is being pulled too high, is my guess, is the cause and for the reason for the inconsistency. Because you can develop consistency and have it work for you. Choi Eunice says, please can you tell me how I can sing better and make my voice better? Yeah, so Choi, I'm just going to say that what I just showed you about taking the power test, the vocal test, finding your vocal type, looking at those videos, and then downloading the exercises for your vocal type is the number one thing that you should do right now. Maybe some of you have maybe some of you have already had this experience where it's helped you. So MD Saful, Islam Saifetz. It's my best shot. My first time. So very happy, I'm very excited that you're with us for the first time, and I hope you find this helpful. D-Hot, DB. I can do all the exercises very well, like I talk. About lip roll, I'll reach up to the C, that's probably like the C5, the female C. But when it comes to singing, I can't reach any. Suggestions. Thank you so much for the great job. Thank you. Application is a challenge. Why is it so hard to apply it to our songs? It's because of muscle memory. It's because we've always done this, and so it's so easy to revert to it. I find this particularly challenging for gigging students who are actively performing on a regular basis, and it's hard to learn something. Imagine if you were a golfer, for example, you're a famous golfer like Tiger Woods, and I don't know who the current leader is, but you decided you were going to change your golf swing, and so you just win the Masters golf tournament, which is the big tournament in Savannah, Georgia, in the United States. You win it, and you win millions of dollars and a green jacket and a big trophy, and then the next day you decide you're going to improve by changing your swing. Well, if you think that the next day you're going to learn completely how to change your swing and be able to apply it in a tournament the following day or the following week or the following month, I think that you'd find that it would be very difficult to make a rapid transition from the way you used to do it to the new way of doing things. So here are some suggestions, just some practical things. Number one is give yourself a little bit of time. For me personally, I really feel like it took me at least, and I'm slow, so don't be discouraged, but it took me about 6 months, and even then I still found myself pulling chest a little bit. Now I had higher notes, so the transition took me a while. So give yourself a break, give yourself a chance to learn. I would try learning a new song with your new abilities, your ability to bridge in the exercises. Pick a song you've never done before and get a song that primarily is in the bridge or slightly above it. Why is that the case? Because if you're singing a song that's all in chest and then you take the high note that happens to be in the bridge, it's going to be virtually impossible to do that. But if much of the song is in the first bridge of your voice, then you have to be bridging throughout the song, and you're going to be much more likely to be successful when the high note comes, which is a little bit maybe higher or maybe above the first bridge. You're already going to be in a position where you've been working in that mix area, that combination of chest and head, and so it's ideal if you can find a song that's a little bit higher than the songs that you've been singing. Another way to do it is, and I'm going to create a course one of these days and put it on my website. Probably would be available for a membership type thing, but I'm going to create an application course. But you can always take an exercise like your bubble lips, let's say, and if you were singing Can You Feel the Love Tonight from Elton John's from the Lion King. Do it with bubble lips. Can you feel? Or no, 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 no. Gee, 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 gee. And ladies, do the same thing for the song you're working on. Use one of the exercises that you're successful in, and instead of doing the words, apply the words, substitute the word of the exercise in place of the words for the song, and do that successfully. Then go back and put the words in and see if that helps. So there's 3 suggestions that may be of benefit to you. My assistant tells me that my voice is trailing behind. Sorry? My voice is ahead of my lips. I'm sorry about that, and it drives me nuts when I see that. Look at my forehead instead of my lips. Maybe when this renders and is saved on YouTube and is in place, it'll be corrected. I don't know. Sorry about that. Okay, so Mindy indicates that his story is similar to mine. He had a teacher tell him that he was singing a song in a bad key, and she went ahead and played the song in an easier key. That was her solution. Yeah. She did not teach me about the bridge, etc. Just told me to find a more comfortable key. That's extremely common, Mindy. That's a really great point. Excuse me. Oh, now my words are okay, so I don't know. Maybe it's just our computer. Yeah, here's the problem. Many teachers, it's not that the teachers are trying to hold something back from us. They don't know that they don't know. I'm sure my teacher didn't know she didn't know. She got her master's degree, and her teachers didn't know they didn't know, or they would have taught her. It's maddening, actually. I've heard Seth Riggs talk about this. He graduated with 2 degrees, a bachelor's and a master's in vocal performance, and no one taught him how to do it. He still couldn't get through his bridge, and he was mad. He was mad about it. He believed it was possible. And he was upset that he could go to Johns Hopkins and another university in New York City and not be taught how to do it. And all I can say is that probably there are many gifted singers who can do it naturally, who end up with a scholarship to college, who end up being hired by the university to teach, who've never had to, they just were born that way. And there are singers out there, ladies and gentlemen, who are born with the gift to bridge. Don't get me wrong. Some people can just do it naturally. I'm one of the millions who couldn't. I'm also one of the maybe thousands or hopefully hundreds of thousands who've learned that I can bridge and be successful at it. So I doubt that any of these teachers who don't teach it are doing it because they're withholding information. They just don't know they don't know. And that's a bit of a problem, but maybe this is going to help, this channel, this information. Mindy also says, we all understand that bridging a voice is important, but is it enough for good singing? No, there is more to singing than learning how to bridge. But I will say, what we're trying to do, Mindy, is eliminate limitations. You don't want to have limitations with your voice. And by learning how to bridge, I believe strongly that you're not only eliminating the greatest limitation that I find singers have repeatedly, over and over again, but we are also putting your voice in a condition where now everything else is going to be easier. It requires the voice to be balanced. It requires the voice by balancing the voice, now the upper gets better and the lower gets better. The head voice gets better and chest voice gets better. By balancing the voice and learning this bridging process, we no longer have to flip into falsetto. We no longer have to pull. We no longer have the larynx being elevated. And so there are so many things that begin to take care of themselves as a result of learning how to bridge. Now, there are many other aspects of singing, performing. There are aspects of your genre and your style and those kinds of things. But if you can't bridge, no matter what you do, no matter what your genre, no matter what your style, no matter what an artist you are, you're going to be limited. And so I want to remove those limitations. Minnie also said, I thought you were a bass. It turned out you have tenor notes. Exactly. So at the end of the day, what does differentiate a bass from a tenor? Well, my tessitura is lower. So where I speak tends to be the fundamental tessitura of my voice. I guess I'm right around here, which is the low C. Or maybe it's here, the B. That's the low E. According to what I've been told and read, and this is Seth's feeling, is that generally speaking, the tessitura of our voice is about 4 notes higher. In other words, where we speak should be about 4 notes or so higher than our lowest singing note. That's the low E. I can get lower, but I've always usually got the E. I've got kind of a D this afternoon. So just because I can, and this is a part of the problem of giving a voice a classification like you're a tenor, you're a bass, or you're a contra tenor, or spento, or coloratura, or soprano. Or part of the problem is there's so many things involved: the tone quality, the tessitura, the resonant tone of the voice, the heft, the depth in it, the lightness, the thinness, all of those things combined. And they're really not, unless you're singing opera, unless you're singing classical or opera, there isn't really a genre. Those designations aren't really designed for pop or musical theater or maybe a little bit musical theater if you're singing Phantom of the Opera or more of the legit classical kinds of musical theater. But so those kinds of things are, those classifications can be premature and sometimes not even really applicable to what we're doing. So Mindy, just to answer your question, I'm pretty much a bass with tenor notes. So you could call that maybe a baritone, but I have a pretty deep, a baritone maybe would end at a G or an F sharp, and since I can get down to the E and maybe the E flat and the D, and because of some of the heft and weight in my voice, I pretty much have learned through the years that I'm a bass with tenor notes, and I tend to bridge lower as a result. My bridge I bridge where the true bassos are bridging. The basso profundo or the basso cantata, which is kind of my designation. I bridge on the A below middle C. It's my first bridge. So it does affect where the bridge is located. So, and that's physiological. There's Mandel says, I would imagine there's a physiological difference between tenor and bass. Yeah, you know that everything kind of comes into play. Just the structure, size, and the cavity, and the length and the thickness of the chord structure, and all these things that make us unique, kind of combined into our vocal type. And to a large extent, it is what it is. We're kind of genetically. We have a genetic boundary of some sort. And so part of learning to sing is finding out what those boundaries, the true boundaries are. Like, it's easier. Are these okay? Okay. So I have, you want me to cover these? Yeah. Thanks. My worthy assistant happens, I sleep with her. Okay, it's my wife. So a couple other questions, we'll wrap it up, and I've got a student coming in 17 minutes here. So Wanderer 474747, great to have you. I don't recognize this, so nice to have you with us. He said, hi sir, when I bridged through the break, I made distorted sounds, but my neck is really relaxed. Did I do anything wrong? It depends on what you mean by distorted. If you said, if that's the distortion, then yeah, you cracked into falsetto, and so that means the larynx is still coming up. So it really kind of depends on what distortion means. If you said larynx is coming up. So if you went you've lost the bottom. You've lost the connection to the tone. So, yeah, probably if you do it correctly and the voice is in balance, you really can't even tell you're going to the listeners can't tell you're going to the bridge. In many cases, after you get used to it, you don't even notice. You shouldn't really be able to hear any difference in my voice anywhere there. Like whether I was in head voice or whether I was in the bridge or whether I was in chest voice, it all should have a unified quality to it. Subia says, can you explain how to apply bridge in a song? Please sing and explain about the bridge. Please sing and explain about the bridge. Yeah, so Subia, the first thing I would, and this is the first thing I would do with a song is find out where the high notes are, the main notes of the song are in relationship to the bridge. So for the men, it'd be the E, F, F sharp primarily, first bridge. And for the ladies, it would be the A, B flat, B, C, and high C, above middle C. What parts of your song do those notes fall in? Because that's your bridge. And if I said that right. So you would like to know, I would like to know in the chorus, where are all these notes falling, and in the bridge of the song, where do these notes fall? Is it in my bridge, above the bridge? Is everything down on my chest? Do I really want to sing it that way? Because I'll lose the upper if I don't have some, So you want to be able to select songs or be able to pitch them. And a lot of times you can get people to or you can have somebody play the piano and migrate the key to appropriate keys, so that you can so it can transpose into, so that the song falls like in your bridge, and have a few notes above the bridge. This is really the best way to learn how to bridge. So that's the first thing. You just need to know where your bridge is, and you need to know that the notes in the song fall primarily in that bridge. But other than that, really, it's the exercises. And the exercises that are available on powertosing.com will really help you, because then no matter what song you sing, you'll be able to do it once you learn how to do that basic thing. And so when you're learning the bridge, you learn how to do it on different vowels. Maybe you're saying gee, 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 gee. Or maybe you're saying goo, 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 ma, 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 no, 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 no. So you start out with consonants, and eventually you do it with you start out with consonants and vowels. Eventually you get to the point where you can just do it on a vowel. E, o, a, e, a. So all of those things you kind of layer on as you gain experience and as you work with the exercises that take you from one level to another level to another level, and then you go to your songs and apply that same feeling in the song itself. That's a quick answer to a really long question that takes a lot to answer. But you can learn a lot about the bridge on, I've got a whole lot of videos on powertosing.com and on Power to Sing in the YouTube channel. Timothy, my head voice sounds dry and weak. How do you practice this to improve the sound? Number one, learn how to bridge, because getting to the bridge in a solid way will get you into head voice. Once you're able to do that without pulling or then I would recommend, this is probably one of the best exercises. New, 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 new. And once you can do new, 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 no, 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 and you come down the scale from A flat to the E, and then go back up again. No, 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 no. And notice I didn't say no, 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 or I didn't say no, 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 no. I didn't let it fall in the chest. I kept the no right where the new was. No, 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 no. Not no, 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 no. So that's the fastest way one of the fastest ways to build your head voice and develop strength in that. Wanderer again asks, I can't go from head voice to falsetto. Can you teach me some exercises to practice that skill? You know what, Wanderer? I don't teach falsetto. I teach you how to do head voice like it was falsetto. So if I said, God on high, in my prayer, in my need, you have always been there. That was my head voice. Sounded like falsetto, but it was connected. If I were in falsetto, I would have said, God on high, in my prayer, in my need, you have always been there. I would have had to break back into my chest voice. But being able to do it in head voice, which sounds like falsetto, even feels kind of like falsetto, you're able to bridge, or you're able to blend back into your chest. Falsetto will not blend into chest. James Joseph, I feel a little vibrato in my voice without without doing anything. It's spontaneous. Way to go. But it's not loud. That's okay. It'll continue to grow. I didn't have any vibrato at all, and so I had to kind of manufacture it, kind of make it happen before my vocal cords started picking it up automatically, which is what you have to do. If I want others to hear, I have to add more power to shake. Is it vibrato? Yeah, I would say so. I would, without hearing you do it. But the way you described it, I think you may want to watch the videos on vibrato on my website. I've got a couple, but I've got a really good one that shows 5 different ways to develop your vibrato. So go to the Knowledge Center on the website. On the right-hand column, there's categories. Go to that breakdown, go to the categories and look under vibrato and click on that. It will take you to the video on vibrato. Okay guys, I've got to run. I've got a student coming in 8 minutes and need to get prepared for him. And I want to just thank you for being with me today. Sorry not to be able to address every question. As you can see, we just had a whole bunch of questions today, and I apologize not to be able to get to every one of them. But thank you for joining me. This is Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. I'll see you inside the next video. Thanks for joining me today.